Hey everybody, Boris speaking Force. Welcome to the crosses section for July 15, July 19, 2019. And even though the majors have had a lot of low volatility, the crosses actually set up some very interesting breakout ideas this week all across the board. It's really sort of a smorgasbord of stuff that I want to show you. So let me show you what I have so far. Pound Swiss, very interesting setup here. I'll show you on the charts. There is tremendous amount of like week-long, maybe 2 week long support at 23. And if we get any kind of a pound bounce, and more importantly, if we get any sort of a dollar Swiss bounce, because today was a very interesting day. We had almost like a 2 standard deviation. This is Friday I'm talking to you about. We had a 2 standard deviation day to the downward side in dollar Swiss. Really a lot of weakness on the Swiss crosses. Utterly unexplained given the fact that U.S. yields are actually up. Perhaps there were some risk-off bets that were being laid off, but I think a lot of it was just positional trading, and it's probably going to pop back up over the next couple of days. So that whole mean reversion trade really sets itself up nicely for a run towards the 2450s. Aussie Kiwi becomes really a referendum this week on Australian employment data. If that comes in weak, we have a chance here to test the 104s. We're coming back up against the moving average resistance, and I'll show you on the charts why that looks kind of interesting. And then last but not least, this is really a trade on Canada exhausting its downward move. And if you think there's a chance here that dollar CAD kind of bounces back up towards the 30.75, 3100 level, if oil slows down, if just generally the typical caddy move here, I think the EuroCAD potential here back up towards the 47s looks very good, and it looks like it's double bottomed here on the charts, giving us a perfect support. So let's take a look at the EuroCAD first here as a setup. So here's my view on EuroCAD. You see a pretty clean, clear rejection of the 46 level twice, right? Now, we certainly got rejected at the 48s as well. This is the BOC price action. But ultimately, you have Euro strength and a slowing caddy strength, and I think this is really the trade here. If you get Euro outperformance or caddy becoming markedly weaker over the next couple of days, we have a chance here. It's a small risk. You're really basically trading to 46.25, honestly, because these are the lows against which you trade. And if it does come back up, there's lots of scope here all the way to the moving average to come back at least to 47.50, perhaps 4800 on the move. Aussie Kiwi, as we talked about, is really the trade on Australian weak employment data and perhaps a retest of these 104.25, 104 lows. This is a very low volatility trade, but here's the thing, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit here to show you. Here's the thing that intrigued me about this trade. First of all, we obviously coming up against the moving average support, so that's a pretty decent place to open up the short. Secondly, if you are operating under the assumption that this candle is valid, this rejection, this complete reversal of this level over here from 105.25 is valid, and it's really the operating signal on the move here. As you can see, when you get these big wick out spikes, either way, up or down, in the odd Kiwi trade, even over here, it takes a while, sometimes a very long while, but generally, as long as the highs aren't penetrated, the signal is correct. Here the signal was correct. Here the signal to the upside was correct. Here the signal to the downside was correct. And I think here's a more modest but still pretty potent signal to the downside against which we're operating. And I think that's the trade you make, especially with the funded kicker of the employment numbers being relatively weak. If that comes in, we have a reasonable chance here to possibly make 104s as the week progresses. And then last but not least, let's take a look at Pound Swiss. Let me just find Pound Swiss. Here it is. And here's what I'm talking about. Give me just 1 second for the chart to come up. Here's what I'm talking about, this incredible wall of support. I mean, look at this floor of support, really. Not a wall, but a floor of support. You're talking about really from the big, almost 4 weeks or 3 weeks from June 24th, we have not been able to breach the 23 level, right, in Pound Swiss. And while the Friday's action is certainly not great, but not horrible. I mean, if you sort of forget the color, we tested the bottom, came back up mid. Tested the bottom, came back up mid to the upper end. This isn't a cry for a major breakout here, but we did fill the gap, right? We filled the gap over here. We consolidated, and we have a reasonable chance here to trade maybe 24.50, 24.25. And more importantly, this support seems to be relatively solid here. So any bounce in cable front of the week before the data really comes out could be an interesting trade here. There is, of course, the danger here, as I said, that really bad data could scuttle cable. But at this point, I think the market anticipates bad data. It has to be horrific data, which I don't think you're going to get. In fact, mildly bad data is going to be viewed positive cable and could actually lift us even higher here. The critical question, the really critical question, and allow me to just take a second more here to show you. This was the shocking move here. This was the big move that filled, that filled this gap to the downside. And this is really the open question of whether we're going to get a little bit more downside action. Now, the fact that we kind of filled this gap to the downside suggests that maybe yes, we could extend a little bit more, but not much more beyond here, like somewhere around 30-40 points. So we could get a little bit of trade against us on pound Swiss on the Swiss move, but I think ultimately that bottom holds, and then we get a pop as the week progresses. Wish you guys the best luck, the best trading. Boris Schlossberg, over and out.